Okay, story time, everybody. I'm going to share with everyone how I got in the habit of lining up my machines on my front lawn every summer and what that has turned into over the past 4 and soon to be 5 summers. So I currently live in the house that I grew up in, and I moved back there about 7 years ago. And once I moved back, it became apparent that I needed to get a Honda that I could use for yard work, and in tracking a machine down that would help me with that, it really reinvigorated my love for riding and old Hondas, and I wanted to chase down an old 350X like I used to have, and that's really what started this whole process of me buying Hondas and remembering that I wanted to get one of each model of each year Honda three-wheeler, even though I didn't know what that meant and how many that was when I started. But that's what got me going, and the first summer was 2017. At that point, I had about 12 machines, and it was mid-July. Beautiful day outside, and my family was just hanging out, and I brought over a couple machines and put them on the front lawn like I did when I was younger. Took some pictures, and then I brought over a couple more machines. Before I knew it, I had them all lined up, and it didn't take very long because there was about a dozen, like I said, and even had some time to clean them up, as I brought them down. So after another year of buying and tracking more machines down, the next summer I lined them all up again. It was 2018 at this point, and picked a weekend that my wife was out of town and I was all by myself, so I lined them all up. It took me all day. There was about 24 machines, and I didn't get started early enough, and I was trying to put on a headlight guard here and make the machines look as nice as they could before I brought them over, and eventually I just had to get them over there. It's about 300 yards from my front lawn to my pole barn, so it's quite a hike. I was towing over machines that ran just to shorten up the number of trips I had to make. And that summer, it was funny because there was boats stopping. There was people on jet skis that were stopping at my dock and asking if I had anything for sale, like it was a used car lot. I don't know if they were disappointed when I told them that there weren't any for sale, but that's what happened that summer. And that's, I think, the first summer my neighbors started to question my sanity, and rightfully so, because I have officially lost it. So then, as I prepared for the summer of 2019, I took advantage of some friends who had told me that when it was time for this, they wanted to be a part of it. I hired my other friend, who's a photographer, to capture the day's activities as we dragged all these machines out. We put everything in line from front to rear in a Trike snake at first that went all the way from my barn to my driveway, about 500 feet. My friend Josh brought his drone and caught these very neat shots flying across the Trike snake here, and it's just really neat to see it from this perspective. I think that's us off to the left, watching him fly it. It was very neat to be up high and be looking down at all that brown grass. I swear it was greener when you look at it across from the ground. That's the Great Sacandaga out in front. 500 feet. It was pretty funny. Took us a while to get them set up, but it's perfect. The big reds, the SXs, the sport machines, into the 200s, 200Ss, and all the small ones up there at the front. It's very neat seeing it from this perspective. Not everything made the lineup, but most of them did. And then after we did the Trike snake, we staged all the machines in my driveway for a pretty powerful shot where we had, I think, 5 rows of lined up Hondas. And it was a great day. I was very fortunate to have all the help that I did, and and it made for a lot of memories. We had a drone on site, but the drone crashed before we got everything on the front lawn. But this was also an all-day affair, and after we got them all lined up and took some pictures, we cooked some burgers and ate on the patio, and everybody had a good time. The equally hard part to this process is not just getting them out, it is putting them back, and that takes a long time too. And after this particular year, it was just me and my kids dragging them over one or two at a time and getting them put away. And sometimes the weather does not cooperate. This was 2020, and in the morning it looked like it was going to be a bad day. But you know what? The sun came out and it dried out all the rain. And the itsy bitsy triker met up with all his buddies and pulled out all the three-wheelers and started pushing them out into the field to put them around a 30 by 50 foot American flag. And the gentleman who had the flag also had a pretty nice drone, so he was capturing all these pictures and all the footage as we wheeled things out. We laid the tarp down so the flag didn't have to lay there and touch the ground until it was absolutely necessary to get that out. So we had even more people helping. I think everybody from the previous year showed up, and a couple new people showed up too. So we're all just kind of figuring it out. I have a plan, but it becomes very discombobulated that day. So I just kind of tell people, put them where they look like they make sense, and of course the ones that should run don't, and things are getting pushed even though they ran the day before, so kind of frustrating. But this was our first staged shot, getting the machines around that flag. Put the little ones out front and just whatever fit where along the sides. I think right now the guy is practicing with his drone just to get some shots. We're still bringing them out. It was really hot this day. I left my phone out in the sun and it got super hot and shut down, so I was not able to take a lot of pictures myself, but thankfully we have these videos. I think we're getting close here to being ready with the flag. This drone was pretty legit, so he could get quite high with it to get some pretty awesome shots. And it's just neat to see the property from that angle. And then you can see here, we're starting to line them up along the driveway. That's my neighbor on the left in the green shirt, witnessing my folly. This was, I think, our first stab at this. Me and another guy had to go back and tighten up the line because we were gonna run out of driveway before we ran out of three-wheelers. So what's neat is all my friends that are helping me, you know, this gives them a chance to maybe try out machines they haven't ridden before, and I'm happy to get some run time on these machines that are usually sitting, so people can fault collectors for not riding their machines, but I think it's neat that my pals get to ride my stuff and keep them going, and get a neat day on three-wheelers. So here we have every year ATC 70, we got 73, 74, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83 Christmas special, 83, 84, 85, another 85. We've got US 90s, 71, 72, 73, 74. Then we get the ATC 90s through the 70s up into the 110s. 110s turned into 125Ms. 86, 87, then 185S's, the 185 and ATC 200s, the 200Ss, the big reds, 200M in there, 250 big reds, 250 SXs, the 200Xs, then we get into the 350Xs, 250Rs, and then a couple quads, 250Xs, 400EX, TRX 90, and a little QA50 for good measure. But in the end, it was just a little hard to see them all. It was too long. So we moved them down to the lake. As usual, I kind of positioned myself down there, and we had a lot of helpers. We had some ground bees that we discovered. Thankfully, no one got stung, but they really like that 87 125M. And I very gingerly moved things into position, dancing around the bees. That's what I'm doing right there, I think. But they were happy to cooperate, and I was happy to get this lined up. I kind of had a plan here, and I was doing my best to execute it. And there they are. One big mass of Honda. So the next morning, we got some pictures with the sun from the back. Just went around grabbing some shots of families of models. So the 200Xs, the 250SXs. There's the big reds. Just need to see them in different angles. There's from the lake, showing the backside. And then we start putting them away. We tow them just to do less trips. My daughter gets in on the action. My buddy Brandon came all the way up from 2.5 hours away to help me move them with his fiance. And then he got a big mess to put away. Figure out where they go. I always like to say it's like playing Trike Tetris. Frontwards, backwards, put them where you can fit them. And eventually you get them all in, and it's time to plan for the next year. And that's how you do a front lawn 3-wheeler photo shoot.